you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, nice to meet you. So, as you told, my name is Camilla. I come from the northern part of Italy. I come from Trento, and now I'm here in Perugia as a student of a master in international relations. And I'm also part of Extinction Rebellion. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Great, you too. So, to start with, are there any issues that you feel are happening only in Italy related to the climate that have not yet been picked up by an international audience?
Okay, well, studying international relations, I'm starting to understand the bigger picture, and it's really concerning. But, well, talking about Italy, the situation nowadays, it's changing. So, well, we have seen that because of the weather, we have to struggle a lot. Italy, it's really a hot spot because of thunderstorms that are becoming reality even in the north of Italy, in the Garda Lake, which is really unusual. At the same time, in Sicily, we had a lot of fires burning for maybe even weeks. And at the same time, we have a lot of desertification going on in the center, so even in Umbria, which has to deal also with olive oil, which is something that is really, really important for us. And at the same time, back in the north, I discovered that our iced mountain are melting. So all the ice that it should be on the mountain. Some scientists are truly believing that in 2050 it will be gone for the 70%. And they are trying to get new technologies which has to deal maybe with covering also all the mountains and the ice itself. So it's quite, let's say, a really, really rough attempt to do something that it's not really going into the right direction. And talking about the government and the politics, nowadays with the war in Ukraine, things are changing, and hopefully we are starting to reproject and maybe thinking about renewable energy, something that it's really important and it should have been done maybe even 15 years ago. But we had some certain regulation called eco bonus, but it's really, really a recent politics that was aimed to recover our and restore the energy production by giving help to people in rebuilding their houses with, let's say, a more sustainable materials in the aim of the reduction of the use of the energy and, of course, our emissions. But the main problem is that we are really into fossil fuels. The big problem comes when we see things like Sanremo, which is the biggest music festival here in Italy, that is sponsored by Eni. Eni, it's a huge company, and it's all over in Italy. You can see also the banks, like as an activist, I really know that many banks here has some certain regulation in their bank account which doesn't allow you to see where your credits go, but actually they are funding oil, gas and petrol. And nowadays the hottest issue is that we are let's say some politician, even our minister, were talking about carbon plants, and this is a way huge step in the past because it's really intoxicating and it's really increasing the CO2 production. And at the same time, we are struggling with finding new gas because of the war in Ukraine. And yesterday I heard even at the festival that Cingolani, in a pre-registered interview, was talking about finding gas in Africa. this is a huge step back, and he told us that the situation may become similar to the one in Ukraine, but the fact that we can take gas from many different states may be helping the situation, because we could have a plan B. But the fact is that Africa is really a hot spot, and you can't think that, even if one state has some certain problems, the other state, which is maybe a neighboring state, won't have the same problem, because climate change is a threat multiplier itself, and Africa's situation, we know that it's not really the best one for their governments, for what it's the quality of life and everything that goes around this. So also there's another project talking about taking gas in Azerbaijan, but the problem is that they don't even know how much gas it's in Azerbaijan, and at the same time there are many infrastructure which aim is to become, let's say, to have a more sustainable environment, but it's actually the opposite. They are talking also about a project which is called SNAM, so SNAM in Italian, which has to deal with putting a huge tube in the purpose of giving gas by excavating all the Apennine. It's truly crazy. Like, nobody will tell you that this is a good idea. Only the one that want to make profit out of it. So the situation, it's really complicated, and it has many levels. But nowadays also with Cingolani, we had a brief talk, and I can say that the situation is quite hard also to handle, because it's giving all of the blame on Draghi, which is our president. And so it's also difficult to get a transparent talk with the government itself.
And I think these worries are echoed in statistics, for example, like the new IPCC report, and statistics over the last 25 years about the richest people in the world releasing sort of 90% of the CO2 carbon. That's probably a number that's increased since then. When you look at these statistics, why do you think people should get involved? Why do you think people still want to get involved, even though it feels so threatening and so scary?
Well, this has to deal with the first question, maybe, because politician in Italy seems quite, let's say, far away from the view of the scientist. We had a campaign called Extinction Rebellion, in which all over the world, all the scientists went into the street to demonstrate and to try for the last time and for another time to try to be heard by someone. Because there's politics, which is really, I believe, it can be corrupted sometimes. And also here in Italy, the situation is pretty hard to handle. And at the same time, we have the media. And in Italy, media usually are into gossip when we talk about the journal, the paper journal. So it's quite hard to get the audience to know the thing, to know that this is a true thing, because also with everything that has to deal with fake news, it's really a dangerous threat. And at the same time, I believe that Italian people are maybe, I hope that they can be more prepared to the situation, and I think this is the time to raise our voices. So the important thing is that everyone, or the more people, the best it is, in order to spread the voice, give information, give IPCC report a new voice, which is not only the scientist one, and maybe also the fact that it's not so readable, like it's not easy to read and to understand all the concept, and also in politics it's the same maybe sometimes. This can be maybe a step, but activists can help in achieving some good information and also helping understand that this is a true emergency and we have to act now. So
in that way, do you think groups like XR can take these ideas that maybe seem very far away and very happening in another country and bring them down to earth?
Yeah, I think nowadays it's the only thing that we can do. I mean, we have a huge privilege. We were born in places in which we can protest. It can be difficult sometimes, but we can protest. And at the same time, also the scientists are asking activists to activate and are so glad to all the activity and the time and the energy spent by those people, because the government interest as always have to deal with business and profit, and this is a really old way of thinking. I think it's really eradicated also in capitalism, liberalism. We structure all this thing in the last 100 years, I think, probably. And nowadays we have the true, let's say we have report. Let's say that this is not sustainable anymore. The reality is different, and we have to make a huge system change, because we cannot go like we have done. So I think it's time to change, and if we do it all together and we gather our energy, we understand that we can play a crucial role. We can have a voice, and our voice is important. For many people in the world, this is really a privilege. So when I think about climate change and when I think about the Earth being inhabitable, maybe in 30 years, what can we do? We have two choices. We can blame and continue saying, okay, this is our future, it's gonna be like this. Or we can take a step further and start believing in ourselves for the first time, because also with, all the maybe capitalist way of thinking, and also, everything that comes with media and all the, let's say, the biggest industries and companies telling you in way that maybe are not so visible, but many times they tell you that you have to buy something in order to, be better than other, because you have to succeed the other. Well, if you understand that maybe this is the best way to, push down all the population, to regulate it, to make them say, I'm part of the thing. Nobody will care if I raise my voice. But activism is on the opposite side, I believe. Tells you that if we all gain our energy, if we all put effort in it, we can truly understand also from history that altogether a critical mass can change the thing and can have a real pressure on government, something that international relations can't do because of their soft law system and all the protocols that can be signed or not. It depends on the government. But if you have a big push from the population, the government will have to sign those treaties and maybe have more regulation in their law. So I think this is the only thing that we can do right now. We don't have much choice, and we don't have time.
Very true. Very powerful message. And just on a final note, for the people who are thinking about joining groups like Extinction Rebellion but are unsure, what has Extinction Rebellion brought to your life? Or how do you think Extinction Rebellion has made your life richer? Taking part in, for example, like you talked about the Rebellion of One earlier. Could you just mention that a little bit more? Yeah,
actually yesterday was quite an empowering day for the first time, I learned that I can be something and I can be part of maybe the journey of somebody else, and I will be part of their journey too. Like it's mutual. So I've actually entered into Extinction Rebellion when it was the first time that we have a real closure in Italy. So it was quite strange, but at the same time, I understood that there was something going on besides me. And I also, I don't know, I think I opened my eyes to a bigger picture that wasn't aimed about exceeding, as I told you, or maybe, I don't know, giving my best in order to have a good life. Because the problem is that with all the issues and the climate crisis, because it's not climate change, it's climate crisis and climate emergency. This is so, I don't know. It's not blame and shame, but I felt quite kind of ashamed of myself because I got fooled by the system. And it's somehow entering in XR enlightened something in me that made me believe in my capabilities, in my abilities. It made me realize that everything is a challenge, and also raising your voice can be so hard in a world that tells you that if you don't have the last pair of shoes, you're never gonna be enough. That's the point. But when you have on the opposite side someone that is telling you, you can get a community, you can get some people that, it's not chit-chat anymore. It's people that can tell you their stories and can tell you something that you didn't know and let you have the opportunity to grow yourself, the thing that you like the most. Because also a mass movement is something different from maybe an association or a collective, we call it collective, but I don't know if it's the true translation. So, because all the pyramid order is just on the other side. Yeah, we have the decentralization system, which gives you the power to do what you do just because of what you want to give and what you think it's, your best point. But at the same time, you can challenge yourself doing something that maybe you weren't supposed to do, or maybe you were thinking it was even not that capable because of the system you grew up with. But then you change your idea when you do the thing. And at the same time, it's something that, climate emergency and climate activism, for the first time, it's, let's say, an issue that does not have boundaries. The only boundaries maybe are given by some governments and some autocracy or dictatorship, let's say. So in the places in which you can have the opportunity to do that, I think it should be our aim, because it's our world, and we can fight with non-violent direct action also for the people that won't have this opportunity in their life. And so, to me it changed a lot. It changed also my view on the future and on what was my aim also in the work, because I had really different plans because before starting this journey with Extinction Rebellion. So you can search. We have many platforms and many different local groups. So you can search whether in extinctionrebellion.et for the Italian situation, or XR Italy on platforms like Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And then over there, there's a spot which is aimed to give you information if you want to join a local group, so you can find the information about all the local groups. And I think it's truly also good and maybe even amazing seeing that all the international communities that we see that has so many lack and so many bad points in the government and all the international relations. With XR, it's really a true community, and you can see really what having mutual collaboration means. Something that it's really important, and maybe I don't know, maybe in a possible future, some government will look at us and think, oh wow, nowadays after 3 years we are in more than 80 countries all over the world. So it's really a global movement, and it's truly amazing. Also because of the media and the role of media, it's really important. And one of our saying is, don't watch the news, be the news, because that's what we gotta do right now. And thank you for this opportunity. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. I think you spoke a lot of truth there. Anything else you want to add before we finish up, or are you good?
I think the last thing that I want to do is really saying that everyone can be a part of it. And the scientists are saying thanks to activists, not to governments. So this is a way key factor. It's not blaming shame. It's the true reality. Nowadays, we can do something if we have the opportunity, the time. It doesn't matter whether we are an artist, I don't know, maybe a lawyer, or maybe a scientist, or maybe just a person that, wants to have some more information. This is a whole new community that has to grow with people entering in the movement. So everyone can be a part of it, and everyone can give something to the other. So,
great.
Yeah.